Hello, this video is meant to support the implementation of Day 12's lesson. On Day 11, we asked students to analyze the World Justice Project's World of Law Index and evaluate its credibility as a source. Today, Day 12, we're jumping into that source and we're asking students to analyze the Rule of Law rankings using the data provided to draw their own conclusions. So let's go ahead and open up the teacher plan, which is meant to give you notes to help you in delivering the student slides. Okay, so here we go. Basically, students will analyze the World Justice Project's Rule of Law rankings using the data provided to draw their own conclusions. They're going to, okay, so let's just jump into it. I think it'll be helpful to just start here. So the first slide, there's 15 minutes devoted to this aspect of the lesson, and basically the slide is animated, meaning that visuals show up one at a time every time the presenter clicks. I wish I could show it to you, but once I go in present mode, it messes up my video. So essentially under this visual, there is the definition of the rule of law as a reminder, and then there's a question that just says, where do you think the U.S. is ranked, to prompt a discussion before this visual shows up and before this information shows up that U.S. is actually ranked 21st out of 128 countries. So reading this, basically the first visual is just meant to help students review the definition to prepare them for the work that they're going to do today. And then you ask where they think America falls, because that could lead to pretty interesting discussions, asking them to support their claims with evidence. Why do you think America falls there? Telling them that there are 128 countries that are factored in, that are considered, and reminding them through the definition that it's about adherence to the rule of law, right? And then finally, you show them where America is ranked and that they're 21st out of 128. So that's a nice little launch to get them engaged and get them grounded in the context. So then moving on to slide 5, there's a video clip of the Chief Research Officer for the World Justice Project, and he's reviewing the key findings and trends from the report. So it's 10 minutes. I took just a 10-minute clip because I know students get bored after long periods of time. And so the hope is that students should just watch the video and take notes using this graphic organizer to help them organize the information. I'll go over the organizer in a second. It might be easier to have students watch the video alone if they have headphones, if you have headphones. If you go this route, you're going to want to leave some time at the end so that students can share information with one another. Another option is to just watch it all as a class, pausing at the timestamps to ensure that students have what they need. And when I say timestamps, so here's the video, it's already preset to the clip. So once you hit play, it's just going to play that 10-minute portion. And then you're asking students to make a copy of this graphic organizer to take notes. So I have time stamped where the information we're looking for comes from. So if you were just to show it in class, then students could just be attentive and notice that when we're approaching these timestamps to listen for these answers. So it's really up to you how you use this graphic organizer, but this is it's an overview of the key findings, and I've also linked it here, which I think is helpful so that students understand like what are some of the major conclusions that they drew from this report, and why did they draw those conclusions, because we're constantly asking students to generate arguments and analyze arguments. And so this is a way to kind of pick apart, okay, they're arguing that the data says this, and seeing how they make those arguments. And so that's 30 minutes of the lesson, and then from there we'll move into analyzing rankings by region. So we've already kind of introduced this idea of country rankings, telling them there are 128 countries. They've already heard from a key person involved on the report about the findings and trends and thought about a lot about that. Now they're going to analyze rankings by region. So you're going to ask them to address questions and to build on one another's ideas. So if we come here to slide 6, you'll see I have linked here, refer to the Rule of Law Scores and Rankings document for the following questions. So I have linked to you a portion of the report. I PDF just the scores and rankings, and you can see here there are a bunch of different rankings. And so you do want to spend time with this resource. So the table below is like the overall scores. So this is like where the countries rank overall, which is what we pulled in when we asked where they thought the US ranked. This is by region. So they organize it by region, also by income, And I asked the students to look more closely at the income portion in the lesson. So if we go to the lesson, the questions are, which regions have more countries with stronger adherence to the law? Why do you think this is? So then now, after them watching the experts develop some conclusions, ask them to draw some conclusions from this now new data that they're looking at around which countries they think have stronger adherence and which regions those countries tend to come from. And then which regions have more countries with weaker global rankings? Why do you think that is? So generating some inferences and using evidence to do so. And then this is just helpful to them as they analyze the data to know that red indicates weaker, green indicates stronger. You can have these students address these questions in partnerships, printing out the data for them, or you can have them open the data on their screens while you project this screen. It's really up to you how you do it. You could have them look at it in partners, or you could look at these questions as a class. I'd say it just depends on your numbers, your student skill level, and what you're comfortable with. And then from there you move on to closure. So this is where I ask them to look more closely at income. And again, now we want to see, okay, you just did this work of drawing conclusions from data with a partner and or with the class. You watched an expert do this work for 10 minutes. Now let's see what learning you've taken away from this lesson, and let's see what conclusions you can draw completely on your own. And so you ask them, how might income affect a country's adherence to a rule of law? And be sure to use rule of law data to support your claim. So pages 20/21 of the report. So this is the rankings document I was just showing you. So if I scroll down to 20 and 21, this is rankings by income. So rankings of low income, rankings of lower middle, noticing the trends of, okay, what are the colors in low income and low middle income, and how do those colors change as we get to higher income, and what does that tell us about adherence of rule of law in those countries, right? So really asking the students to apply all of the modeling of the thinking, the group thinking, now to their own independent thinking. And this will just be great data for you in terms of what the students were able to take away from the lesson and where they are in the skill of analyzing ideas and themes and then generating the claims, evidence, and reasoning to support that analysis. Just making sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, I would collect them done or not before they walk out for the day, just so that you do have that data. But of course, all of these decisions are yours to make because you're the ones in the space making the magic happen. So I'm here to support you if you need any help in facilitating this. Otherwise, I hope that this lesson goes really well for you, and I'll be in office hours if you need me.